Trump defends his own and plays down differences with France's leader. President Trump and President Emmanuel Macron of France held a bilateral meeting on Thursday at the Élysée in Paris. Stephen Crowley, The New York Times. Paris. President Trump on Thursday defended his eldest son's decision to meet with a Kremlin-linked Russian lawyer during the election campaign last June, saying most people would have taken that meeting and nothing happened from the meeting. Zero happened from the meeting. My son is a wonderful young man, Mr. Trump said during a news conference in Paris with President Emmanuel Macron of France. He took a meeting with a Russian lawyer, not a government lawyer, a Russian lawyer. Mr. Trump came to Paris at the invitation of Mr. Macron to take part in Bastille Day celebrations to mark the 100th anniversary of America's entry into World War I. As the two leaders, an old couple on the international stage, faced the news media after a private meeting in the Élysée, they sought to play down sharp differences over trade, immigration, and climate change. Mr. Macron looked on as Mr. Trump defended his son in the Moussouring scandal over links between his presidential campaign and the Russian government. Mr. Trump said Donald Trump Jr. had merely been responding to a person offering opposition research on his opponent, Hillary Clinton, a common practice in presidential campaigns. Politics is not the nicest business. He said nothing that he had received similar offers. President Trump in Paris to meet with President Emmanuel Macron spoke about the meeting Donald Trump Jr. attended in June 2016 with a Russian lawyer. By Associated Press, the president injected on mysterious note into his asserting that President Barack Obama, Attorney General Loretta E. Lynch had approved a visa for the Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya to enter the United States. Entry visas are normally granted by the State Department. On climate change, Mr. Trump acknowledged his differences with Mr. Macron, exposed by Mr. Trump's decision announced 6 weeks ago to pull the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord. When asked whether he would reconsider his decision to withdraw, the president left the door open to some kind of unspecified compromise. Something could happen with respect to the Paris Accord, Mr. Trump said. We will see what happens. He added, if it happens, it will be wonderful. It doesn't, that will be okay too. Mr. Macron also acknowledged the disagreement over the climate accord, but noted the two had agreed on many other issues. He also said he understood Mr. Trump's motivation in withdrawing, even if he disagreed with him. My willingness is to continue to work with the United States. He said, I understand it is important to save jobs. Asked for his assessments of President Xi Jinping of China, Mr. Trump referred to him as a terrific guy and said the two men had a good working relationship, though he reiterated his disappointment that China had not done more to pressure North Korea on its nuclear and missile programs. Probably he could do a little bit more, Mr. Trump said, but we will see. At several points in the news conference, Mr. Trump reached over to touch Mr. Macron's arm, and when a French journalist asked Mr. Trump if he believed that his host would keep France safe from terrorism, something he had criticized the previous French government for failing to do, Mr. Trump went out of his way to praise Mr. Macron. You have a great leader, a third president, he said. He is not going to be easy on people who are breaking the law. Then turning to Mr. Macron and leaning into his microphone, Mr. Trump added, you better do a good job, please. Otherwise, you are going to make me look bad. Mr. Trump and Mr. Macron appear to have put their strange and tense initial relationship behind them in the service of a working partnership and love of a marriage. President Trump and the First Lady Melania Trump arrived at Paris Orly Airport on Thursday. The French leader invited Mr. Trump to Bastille and Day celebration. Mr. Trump loves the trappings of the presidency, whether in the United States or in another country. That includes occupying the most prestigious seats at the Bastille Day ceremony, a pomp-filled parade steeped in military tradition and hardware. Mr. Trump, for his own inaugural parade, had expressed a desire to include tanks and fighter jets. That wish was not granted, but Mr. Trump remains transfixed by displays of military power. He arrived in Europe once again, leaving behind a trail questions related to Russian mating in the 2016 election, flying of the more welcoming arms of foreign leader with whom his bond is still fragile. Mr. Macron and Mr. Trump have had an unusual relationship characterized in public primarily by a few forceful, coward handshakes, particularly their first, which Mr. Macron made clear was an effort to show the American president that the could not be built. So Mr. Trump's decisions to accept the invitation started some of his asides. For the embattled American president, trips overseas, the visit to France will be the third award in 2 months. Have been a surprising pleasure, a reprieve from days